I was two when the war broke out, but I wasn't aware of it until I was about three, when we were living in Sussex and there was the Battle of Britain going on, and there was a big crash, and I remember bumping my chin on the table, and I was eating bacon at the time. I just have this one memory, so that's my earliest memory. Then we moved up to Ealing in, I think, 1941. And I remember going to the shelters when there was a bomb raid, and I quite enjoyed being there because it seemed quite fun, a bit out of the usual routine.
Did you do anything particular while you were in the shelters?
No, I just played with other children, had an explore, that's all. And it was, just an experience. And another sad, but not all very sad, memory was our grocer was Mr. Betten and was of German extraction, so he was interned as an alien, and I remember my mum being very upset about this, but fortunately he was released back into life and he wasn't considered a threat, so that was a happy memory then. And the other thing I remember is hearing the bombers go over. I think it must have been the Lancaster bombers because they're a very heavy drone. I remember hearing those, but and of course there was rationing, but being a child you just take all that for granted,
What was it like to hear music like Bill Haley?
Well, I just liked it very much. I thought it was great, so I just remember buying the record and enjoying it, like listening to it.
Which one was it? The Rock Around the Clock one?
Yes, Rock Around the Clock.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was aware of rock and roll. But I wasn't, I didn't just listen to that, I've always liked classical music as well, but I did enjoy that. Well, I didn't really think much about a career. I sort of had an opportunity to go and train as a nursery nurse, and which I did, and had 2 years training. It was under Ealing Council, I think, and I went to a training nursery at Culmington Road in West Ealing, and I went 2 days a week to Chiswick Polytechnic to learn all about childcare and so forth. Did that for 2 years, then passed my exams and then went to work in Acton and eventually in Neasden. And I've always worked with young children, which I really enjoyed. And then obviously was at home bringing up my own children, and when I went back to work, I got a job at a little private school doing art and craft in the afternoon for the 4-year-olds. And then when that teacher left, I took over and had the class for the whole day and was teaching them as a reception school. Unqualified teacher, but I got some good results, so that was interesting. I can't remember going on holiday as children because of the wartime and so forth, but then when we'd left school, my sister and I decided to go on a youth hostel holiday. So we went, I remember going to the theatre at Stratford-on-Avon, and we stayed in various hostels. I remember one at Stroud, but the one that really sticks in my mind is the one at Stratford, because the youth hostel there was run by an ex-military chap who made sure we'd all had our meal and were out on time to get to the show on time. But that was a very nice holiday, walking in the countryside and going to different hostels. Youth hostels were a boon to people who didn't earn much money, because I certainly never earned a huge amount of money at all. So they were an affordable way and a lovely way of seeing the countryside. I went to St Anne's Convent in Little Ealing Lane, Northfields, from the age of 5, and it was in a 17th century house and it was beautiful, and I still love those types of houses. I was quite happy at school, and I did my first acting there, and we used to put on each class would do a little play or some activity when it was the head's feast day, Sister Stanislaus's feast day. And so we did Little Women, and I was the maid Hannah, and I had to wear this yellow berry, I think it was, And when I came on, everyone laughed, but I stayed in character and played my part. And I got praised for that because I didn't sort of laugh with the audience, so to speak. And then a few years after that, I was Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I've always just loved acting, haven't done any training for it. I joined the Priory Players up at St Benedict's in Ealing and appeared in a few plays there. And then I wasn't in a formal group at all, but when you're with young children, you've got to sort of, your acting skills come in with that. But I used to get the 4-year-olds to do act out little plays, which I enjoyed. And since I've retired, I've joined the High Street Players at the Methodist Church and been in quite a few productions and helped work backstage in others. And since the pandemic, we've had weekly play readings on Zoom, which I've enjoyed. Another venture for me, we recorded an Oscar Wilde play, Lady Windermere's Fan. So I had a few parts in that, small parts. And so we recorded that, so that was another experience for me to do.